Let us have a look at some interesting loss plots. I will post some questions. Please pause the video, try to answer them on our own, and resume the video to get to know about the correct answer. So first of all, the question is, in the first graph, what does this graph represent? What is the phenomena which is happening over here? The blue curve is the training loss. So the y-axis is the loss cost function value. So the blue graph represents the cost function value as a number of gradient iterations, and the orange plot represents the testing loss value as a function of the number of iterations. So you can see that the training loss keeps on decreasing and goes to zero, whereas the testing loss reduces and then starts increasing. So what is the phenomena which is happening over here? Please pause the video and have a thought on this. So now I'll tell the answer. What is happening is overfitting. The definition of overfitting is that the value of the loss function is very small on the training dataset, whereas it is very large on the testing dataset. And that is what is represented in this graph. Next, let's have a look at the second graph. I'll explain first, then I'll ask the question, and you have to think of why it is happening so. At the top graph, the training and the testing loss have been plotted as a function of the number of gradient iterations. So the loss starts at around 1 and keeps on uniformly decreasing to 0.4. The train and the test loss functions decrease at the same rate. Hence, there is no overfitting. Now, let's have a look at the accuracy plot, which is at the bottom. The blue curve represents the training accuracy. The orange curve represents the testing accuracy. Now, the training accuracy, it increases initially as the loss value is decreasing. That's expected. But now, even though the loss function value keeps on decreasing, the accuracy also drops. Usually, the loss, our assumption was that if we decrease the loss, then the accuracy would increase. But that is not happening over here. After a certain number of iterations, again the trend picks up that the loss decreases, then the accuracy increases, and that keeps on going. But the question is, why does the accuracy decrease even though the loss function is decreasing? Think about it. This is an interesting question, and pause the video. I will now tell the answer. So the answer is that the loss, if the loss function decreases, it does not necessarily mean that the accuracy would increase. I've already explained it that if the loss value is decreasing, if the loss value decreases for a long time, at the convergence, yes, the accuracy would be maximum. I'll repeat it again. At the minimum loss point, the accuracy would be maximum. At very large loss, the accuracy would be minimum. But in between, we cannot say that if the loss is decreasing, the accuracy should increase. That is not true. It can happen that the accuracy decreases when the loss is decreasing, because these are not inversely proportional to each other. We only know their characteristics at the extreme points. We do not know how they behave in the intermediate. So this is what happens when, even though loss is decreasing, accuracy might also decrease. Next, let us have a look at what happens when we change the learning rate. So when over here eta is the learning rate, and these are the cost function value, and the number of epochs the neural network is trained for. The orange graph represents learning rate 2.5. The yellow graph represents learning rate 0.25 and the blue graph represents a learning rate of 0.025. A quick question to everyone. Which graph do you think is the best for training a neural network? Pause the video, think of an answer, and then you can continue again. So now I will answer the question. The correct answer is the yellow graph. Most of you guys are easily able to determine that the orange graph is not the correct solution. That's because the cost function is not decreasing and it keeps on oscillating near the same value. Most of you guys would have thought that the blue curve is the best. That is because the loss value smoothly keeps on decreasing. But actually, that is not true. With a learning rate of 0.25, we are able to reach the cost function value at, so if after only 5 epochs, we are able to reach the cost function value, which takes nearly 25 epochs with a learning rate of 0.025. So a learning rate of 2.5 is 5 times faster in convergence than the blue graph. This is very important because let's try to understand this on scale. The, the neural networks that currently big corporations like Google and Facebook train require thousands of GPUs. Each GPU requires 200 to 300 watts, excluding the computation power and other peripherals. Just the GPU takes 300 watts. So 1000 GPUs with 300 watts. Usually these stations where the GPUs are kept, they require their own independent power supply to run such huge computation powers. If you have chosen the learning rate to be wrong, then such a huge investment in terms of electricity, you would require 5 times more electricity with a learning rate of 0.025 compared to a learning rate of 0.25. So let's think that per epoch training, it takes $1 million. By just changing the learning rate, you can save $20 million over here. And that's a very large sum of money. So choosing the correct learning rate is very important. What people usually do is they start with the large learning rate, which is let's say 0.25, not very large like 2.5, but in between. So we take 0.25. After 5 epochs or so, we'll change the learning rate to 0.025. So after 5 epochs, the convergence will be smooth and we will reach a local minima which is deeper. Means that the cost function will have a lower value and the model will converge. So start with a higher learning rate and keep on decreasing the learning rate. We'll see how to do this in PyTorch in later videos. So now coming to the fourth graph, I'll explain this because there is not much to think about in this graph. The y-axis represents the accuracy or the loss function. Over here it does not matter. And the x-axis represents the number of gradient iterations. Y-axis is the loss function, x-axis is the number of iterations. Why does the graph drastically change after certain number of iterations? So as you can see, the answer is that when you reduce the learning rate, the model drastically converges to that local minima. So we start with a higher learning rate and we keep on decreasing the loss function value. But after a certain time, the model keeps on oscillating in the local minima and it's not able to converge because the learning rate is very high. At that moment, we reduce the learning rate and it drastically decreases. The model starts converging to the local minima. Again, it will start oscillating near the local minima. So we again decrease the learning rate and then the model starts converging. If you keep on doing this, you will be able to see such steep steps in your loss graph. So these were some of the interesting loss plots. Now let us take up the question, why do we need to use validation dataset? So some of you guys might already know what a validation dataset is. Let's revise one again, why we need the validation dataset. So first of all, we saw why we need the testing dataset to check for overfitting. We needed the training dataset to train our model, testing dataset to ensure that our model just does not give good results on training. It also gives good results on unseen data. But what can happen that there is the human factor as well. There is not just the neural network which is trying to overfit, even humans trying to overfit their models. So what happens is that if you keep on training new models and keep on testing the accuracy on the test dataset, you can keep on changing the hyperparameters such that your current model is able to perform well on both the training as well as the testing dataset. If you take out some new dataset which is different from the test dataset and the trained dataset, the model will not perform good. This can only, the neural network has not seen the testing dataset, but you have, and you have fine-tuned your model to perform good on the testing dataset. So to take care of this problem, that the model works good on real life scenarios, we only do the training on the trained dataset, we check the accuracy on the validation dataset, and we keep on refining our model. Finally, when we have trained the network, we have our hyperparameters, we just test once on the testing dataset to get a fair idea of how the training model would perform on unseen data. Because validation data is not actually unseen, it is already seen by the human who was training the model. So that is why validation dataset is very necessary. Now, if you are not doing hyperparameter fine tuning, if you are not trying to find out the best learning rate, best number of hyperparameters, number of layers, number of neurons, and so on, then you do not need the validation data. But usually, if you want to create a very good neural network, you want to find out the best hyperparameters, and hence you do require the validation dataset.